Good morning, everybody. Today is a Sunday, April 28th-ish, maybe. I'm not sure. Days have just blended together. I am bored as hell, but still trying to think forward. And it is in the back of my mind that on my G37, some models came equipped, especially the sport model, with paddle shifters. Did some research, YouTubed a bunch of stuff, read up. The kits are available either from wrecked cars or new old stock for the actual paddle shifters, the paddle solenoid, and the adapter, or I should say different mounting, my words escape me, different covers that you need on the lower side for the paddles to actually get through behind the steering wheel. So all that stuff's available. The question has always been on these threads and everything I've watched is, does your G37 wiring harness have the leads for the paddle shifters? And the only way to know for sure is to take the covers off and see if there are leads taped to the wiring harness that were never used because your particular car was not optioned with them. It's Christmas morning for me because I just broke, that might be an accurate word, it was more of an illusion, but the lower cover and top cover off behind the steering wheel. And if I can find you, I have the leads for the paddle shifters. So my car is ready to go with that. I will be getting on the interweb. I will be looking for a kit. I will be purchasing it, and we are going to be installing these mofos so that I can have paddle shifters. When I was looking for a car, one of the requirements, it was a strong requirement that I wanted one with paddle shifters. So I was looking at Mercedes's C350s. I was looking at some Acura newer model TLs, like 10 and newer, specifically ones that were TLXs that had all-wheel drive because they had paddle shifters. I've owned a BMW before, and it was a long shot, dark horse, but maybe a 335 with paddles. All those models were in play. I think I made the wise decision by getting the G because it was the top car on my list when I was looking for a new one, and I would have worked down from there if I couldn't find a decent used G to the Mercedes. I think it was number 2, the Acura 3, and the BMW a distant 4, just based on my prior ownership experience with the BMW. But I found this beauty, a high mile beauty, just sitting in a nondescript used car lot in Dallas, and it's paying off in spades. So far, I've done the basic mods, the cold air. I just got through with the axle backs, and I'm looking forward to the cats and a tune. But all of that wouldn't be complete without paddles, and I am ready to go with that. So look forward here maybe in a couple weeks, week or two, depending on how long it takes to source parts. I will be posting a video up on how to install paddles, which you don't need another video on how to do that, because once you have this stuff determined, you're good to go. It's just replacing covers and bolting them on. But my G's going to have paddles here shortly. I will say this. I've read a lot on the threads about if your car does not have the leads for paddle shifters, what do you do? And everything from replacing the entire body harness to one that came with the paddle shift leads and all this, and sourcing these connectors, these, I guess they're called M66 connectors, to go with the factory paddles. You know what? Maybe somebody can comment. If this didn't have the paddle shift leads on it, I was always in the back of my mind because of my Acura that had a sport shift, a manual mode, let's call it that, but no paddles. It's like, you know what? If it has solenoids anywhere in the car for up and down shift, how hard is it to just put a paddle shift on the car and tie them into the existing solenoids? Well, every G made has paddle shifting. It's just on your right hand, up and down. So those are in place in the car. And if this didn't have the leads for paddle shifting, how hard would it have been to go ahead and put the paddle shifters on and just run the wiring down behind, new wiring behind the console, and just splice in to the solenoids that are in the console? I don't understand. Maybe somebody else knows there's an obstacle to this, because it doesn't seem that hard to me. that you would be able to just tie into the existing signals coming from these two and just relocate them to the steering wheel. I don't understand why that would have been a huge obstacle to overcome that I'm reading about on all these forums, and how intensive it is to replace these harnesses. So that's just me thinking out loud. Again, I said I was bored. We're all just cooped up, not doing much of anything. Maybe somebody can think about that. I may post up on one of the threads I saw online that people were asking about it, just offering that as a possible solution. Maybe somebody can find out there if it's possible or not. It seems completely doable to me, because the car doesn't give a crap where the signal comes from. It comes from the steering wheel. It could come from your pinky. It could come from your, well, any part of your body that you wanted to press on a lever. And as long as it gets back to here, who cares, right? Well, there you go. Anyway, back to this. Gonna do this. Gonna put this back together. Get the parts coming, and then I'll post a video on the install of that. And looking forward to it.